Are you a renter? If so, you're in good company because 500,000 households in Houston are renters. Hi everyone, Jack here, and I want to welcome you back to our video series on how to pick the perfect Houston apartment. As I explained in episode 1, I've been a Houston landlord for over 33 years, and the purpose of my videos is to help renters find the best apartments at the best prices. In this episode and the next ones, I will answer the most common question that people ask me. Can I rent a good quality apartment at a price I can afford? The answer is most definitely yes. Let's start with some facts. According to Rent Cafe, average rent in Houston is $1,324, while San Antonio is a little bit cheaper at $1,302. Dallas is quite a bit more expensive at $1,598, and Austin leads the pack at $1,825 per month. Keep in mind that when we say Houston's average rent is $1,324, that means that half of the apartments in Houston cost less than about $1,300 a month. Renter surveys repeatedly show that the two most important considerations in renting an apartment are 1, security, and 2, quality of maintenance service. This video will give you some hints on how to find a safe apartment complex, and the next video will discuss maintenance issues. Before getting to the question of safety, you must first determine where in Houston you want to live. Houston is a huge city, so commuting from one part of town to another is often impractical. In deciding which location best meets your needs, here are some thoughts. Is the apartment close to your work and to essential services like grocery stores and other retail services you frequently use, such as a veterinarian, a nail salon, etc.? Keep in mind that having to drive an extra 10 miles to work and back every day, which is an extra 5,000 miles of driving every year, may end up costing you money, even if the rent at the farther apartment complex is $100 per month less than the closer location. If it's important to you, is the property close to a hospital or other healthcare facilities? If you don't have a car, is the property close to public transportation? Once you have selected the general location, you can then focus on the apartment complex's safety and the quality of the maintenance service, the two most important factors for apartment residents. As to safety, here are some things to check and questions to ask. Check the online reviews. If cars are being broken into or stolen repeatedly, online reviews will usually mention it, as long as you read at least 20 to 30 of the recent reviews, and even more reviews is better. In fact, there is a very expensive apartment complex near my office in Spring Branch, where two tenants not only posted very unhappy reviews, but also posted pictures of their cars on blocks after all four wheels had been stolen from their vehicles while parked at the apartment complex. By the way, don't think that a car break-in is not a serious crime. Car break-ins sometimes become carjackings, and sometimes even worse than that. For example, just a week ago, a 65-year-old lady was carjacked and murdered at a very nice apartment complex in Memorial. And some months ago, an armed Harris County Sheriff's deputy was shot and killed while trying to stop a thief from stealing the catalytic converter on the deputy's truck. While reviews are a great source of information, there are other ways to determine how safe an apartment complex is likely to be. Is the property fully fenced, and is the fence in good repair around the whole property? You will often see a property that has nice fencing along the main street frontage, but if you look on the side of the property, you will see holes in the fencing where people are obviously entering the property. Does the property have a guardhouse staffed by an actual person 24/7, 365? Although 24/7, 365 staffed guardhouses are not commonly found, Some properties, such as Westview Forest Apartments, do have them. Does the property have high-resolution video cameras? How many do they have? And do they all work? How do you figure this out? It's actually very easy. Just ask the leasing staff to show you the monitor where the camera feeds are going. When you look at the monitor, count how many pictures you see, and that is how many functioning cameras they have. In my opinion, any decent-sized property, let's say a couple hundred apartments, the value security should have at least 10 good cameras. Westview Forest, which I mentioned previously, has 50 video cameras. Go visit the property on a Friday or Saturday night. Is it quiet, or are there people hanging out and drinking in the parking lot? If the property allows that, it's clear they don't care much about keeping their property quiet and safe. We all know that drunk people tend to get into fistfights pretty often, and sometimes those fistfights turn into gunfights. How carefully does the property screen its prospective residents? In my opinion, every apartment property should check for a criminal record on every adult that is going to live at the property. If the property you're considering does not ask you to fill out an application for every person who's going to live with you that is 18 years or older, then they're not checking all adults, and that means the criminals are moving into and live at that property. Does the property advertise a move-in special of 1 month's free rent or something like that? With rare exceptions, for example, a newly built property that is leasing up might do such a special. In my experience, properties that offer such move-in specials do not screen their prospects very carefully, and therefore it is likely there are criminals living at that property. Does the property advertise same-day move-in? If so, it is likely that property doesn't screen their prospective residents very well, because it is nearly impossible to complete a good renter verification in 8 business hours. If you like to do research, for very little or no cost, you can obtain police call information, they're called location inquiries, from Houston Police Department for the address of the apartment complex you are considering. Reading the actual entries on the police records will give you a good idea as to what is happening at the property that you're considering moving to. So, as you can see, there are quite a few things you can do to check out the security at an apartment complex you're thinking of moving to. Obviously, such checks are not a guarantee that there will be no crime at that property, but they will certainly help reduce the likelihood of crime there. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I will see you again in my next video, but until then, happy apartment hunting!